Well, thank you everyone for joining us again for another edition of Moving Beyond the Coronavirus Economy series. And I'm so thankful to have our presenter today who's going to be talking about building a PR plan for your business and talking about how, as a franchisor, as a business owner or business leader, that this is something that you can be incorporating into what you're doing. And maybe you have in the past, and maybe it didn't go as wasn't quite as effective or what you were looking for. And Cody's going to be talking through some great detail and information and strategy on that. And Cody is the director of growth with Pathos Communication. And with that, Cody, I'd love to turn things over to you to start the presentation.
Thank you so much, Tom. Yes, hi guys. So happy to be here today and talk to you all. I would love to kind of go on about Pathos and how we are a little bit different, because we do definitely operate very different than traditional PR firms. We're trying to move away from the traditional model. We've heard from a lot of clients how they've been burned by that, and we're trying our best to make the experience something positive and achievable by all of our clients. So I'm going to go ahead, if it's okay, and share my screen and just open up a sample of our contract and read through it with everyone, just so you guys have a good understanding of exactly what we do here. So Pathos, our main difference, other than traditional PR firms, is that we do not work on a retainer model. In our opinion, our whole problem that we need to solve for you guys is to get you published. So if we're not able to do that, we probably should not be charging you for this. As far as how we're able to work in that way and make sure that we're able to guarantee success, we pick our clients pretty specifically to do with what's happening within the news cycle at that time. So we try to find current events and try to relate that to the clients that we're picking and when we decide to work with them. Once we do that, we have a very good idea that we will be able to get you published, because we know that there's something we can relate you guys to and something that we can definitely get published within these publications that we're staring at right now. So no less than 30 million readers for every single one of the publications that we work with. 100% organic content. So it's never going to appear as sponsored content, paid content, anything of that nature. We will write full articles for every single one of our clients. And the really nice thing about when you're working with us is you guys have full content approval and you're a part of the content creating process. So I know a lot of my clients that I've spoken to previously have signed on with a PR company and then they get listed in a top 10 list somewhere or put on a back page of a blog, and then they're being charged for that. With us, you know where you're going to be published. You have a very, very good understanding about what's going to be said, because we write our articles based off of an interview that we have with you. We have full content approval with you before we ever send anything out to publishing. So you guys are very aware of what you're getting and where it's going to be placed. As far as how we kind of work and our methodology behind this, first, we normally start off with a business feature. So our business feature is kind of our introduction of you guys. We want you to be related to the industry that you work in. Our idea behind this is we want somebody jumping onto Google, typing in any sort of trigger words that might relate you to your industry. This article is appearing, and it's appearing written by a very credible third party. So you have that external validation and that credibility growing. From that, we'll take that article and we'll then leverage it to go get a little bit more media. The next article that we work on is going to be a profile feature. So almost a little bit opposite of what we did with the first article, we are then moving on to how are you different from others within your industry? What makes you guys unique? Our first article, we're trying to relate you. Second article, we're trying to differentiate you and separate you. This is how we're going to say, yes, there are others within this space, but this is what they're doing that really sets them apart, what really makes them unique. And this is why you should be paying attention to them. Moving forward, we go on to things like thought leadership. This is a bit of journey and vision. I know journey and vision gets used a lot. So more specifically, we're trying to answer 5 separate questions about the work that you guys do. First being, how did we get started? So what is the background here? What is the credentials that led you into this space? Ultimately, why should a client kind of trust you in the position that you're in? Second, we're going to be talking about what your current capabilities are. So this is, client calls you up today. What are we able to tell them at this exact moment that we can give to them? What can we provide for them at this moment? How can we serve them? Third, we're going to move into the future of the company. So this can be anything from, are we looking at funding? Are we looking for partnership? Is there any sort of, events that we have that we're hoping to promote? Some of our clients are writing books and they want to promote a book. Anything of that nature, we're going to try to bring up and shed some light on within this space. Next, we're going to move into why you guys care about the work that you do. Why is it very important to you? Why do you get up and go to work every morning? And then fifth and finally, we will discuss why we should care about the work that you're doing. Why should it be important to the reader, and why should the client want to pick you essentially if they're looking for somebody within your bracket? So that's everything that we do within phase one. Phase one is all about that brand credibility and just really, really making sure you're a well-known entity, you're a trusted entity. We get those logos on your website. We put those logos on your business card. If you're having a partner that you really want to work with or a client that you're hoping to land, you're able to send these articles to them and, showcase that you are somebody that should be paid attention to and taken seriously. Phase two and phase three, this is more of our moment to do whatever you like. So we can continue doing single articles where we're writing them, but also we've established you well enough to know that people are going to want to hear your voice. They're going to want to know what you have to say about the current climate. They're going to want to hear your opinions. We've made you a leader within your sector. So naturally, we normally move into opinion pieces that would appear self-authored by you guys. At our job, we have a really excellent team of writers and a really excellent team of editors, so you will never have to write a word if you do not want to. But alternatively, if you guys are very interested in kind of getting your own voice out there, we could just edit something that you had written and make sure that it's formulated in a way that we know that we can get it published. Moving forward from that, network television is a natural next step. Have you guys come in, do a little segment on the business, or even have you come in and commentate as kind of a talking head on something that might be related to your industry. From that, phase three, super client dependent. Not every single one of our clients want to have a documentary made about the work that they're doing, but surprisingly enough, quite a few of them actually do. And it's not something out of our wheelhouse. We have clients right now that are filming with Amazon Prime. We have clients that are filming with Netflix. It's definitely possible. The nice thing about us is we are just a tool in your toolbox. Whenever you'd like to use us, you can deploy our services. You don't have to pay us a retainer for months on end. You pay us when you want something out there and you know you're going to get the final result. And you also know what you're getting, where it's going to go, and you don't have to keep us for months on end. You just have to keep us when you have the budget available and when it makes sense for your timeline. Process-wise, pretty simple. What we're looking at right here is a sample of the agreement and proposal I would be sending to any of you if you were interested. Once we have a signature, our team reaches out normally within 24 hours. We schedule a content session. At that point, we interview you. We have a good understanding of what's going on. Once we have that content session completed, we draft up all 3 articles. We then call you again. We go through it word for word, get that approval from you. If we have that approval, we send it out for publishing. Once we have something published, we then invoice after the fact. Something to be noted, we do send every single article that we write to every single list of publications on here. So there is a good chance that you would see syndication and republishing for each article. If that happens, it's at no extra cost on your end. We make sure that you guys have a very good relationship with us. We're not going to send you any surprise bills. You guys own everything you write. So if you want to send it out anywhere else, you have full rights to do so. And then we also offer a free ROI call at the end of the payment process. So when we're all done, everyone can sit down with our CEO. He'll go over how best to deploy this media to kind of make sense and meet those goals for you. It's very client specific when we're talking PR. Some people really want to just have more revenue coming in. Some people have a really amazing opinion that they want to share or controversial idea. So it's very client specific, and we try to help you meet whatever goals you have. And once we know that from the beginning to the end, we'll try to work that way for you. As I mentioned, we're not on retainers here, so our best chance of having a client come back and want to continue working with us is to make sure that we're doing a really good job to meet your needs and you're having a great experience when you do come in. Previous clients, I'll link this so we can send it to whoever need be, but there is a little QR code up in the corner. You can scan it, takes you to client testimonial videos and write-ups and all of that good stuff. And then I'll jump down to pricing so you guys have a good understanding. Pricing wise, normally would be 15,000 USD for all 3 articles, broken up into 5,000 USD increments upon publication. But yeah, that's everything about Pathos. I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. I'll let you go ahead, Tom.
Well, I was just going to ask here, just in terms of, maybe going over some strategies or structure on building a PR plan. I mean, you talk through what you do. How does that relate to someone that's tuning in to develop or build a publicity plan or public relations plan?
Yeah, absolutely. So building a PR plan, like I said, very client specific, but mainly what we're trying to do here is the credibility and, the longevity of the company. Whenever we have somebody come in, we ask them, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? There's a list of different things that people want. Some people want to generate leads, some people want revenue, some people want to convert leads faster. It's very specific, but what we try to do is just get a very good understanding of what those goals are from the get-go, instead of just, doing a one-size-fits-all PR plan, which I feel like a lot of people have been given. We want to know what those goals are from day one, so we can work towards that. We can write and cater our stories for that for each of our clients. Some of our clients just want to reach out to one specific person. They have a dream person that they'd like to work with. I have a current client who is doing something within the parking sector. So he's created an app that helps with guided parking and that sort of thing. And he wanted to reach out to Philips really badly, the lighting company. So we catered our articles for that specific reason. Every single article we wrote, we mentioned Philips. They have an internal PR team. They were triggered. They reached right out to him. So he got the attention of that person. So that's kind of how we differ. We want to know your goals from the beginning, and we'll cater the whole articles, the whole process into that.
So then it sounds like having that end in mind, kind of the 7 habits of highly effective people. Begin with the end in mind, to have a clear strategy and structure when you actually go in for it to be effective, not just let's produce an article for the sake of getting some press, but what's the purpose behind it? What are we trying to accomplish?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Okay. Great. Well, if for the folks that are on here, I don't know if there are questions for Cody while she's on with us, but would like to start there to see if we have additional questions. Feel free to raise your hand, hit the raise hand feature, or I think you can type it into the chat, or type it into the oh, here we go. Hold on one second. Okay, Neosha, go ahead there.
Hi, good morning, Cody.
Hi.
I was wondering about organic PR or organic reach. Could you talk about some ways that your company or other ways that we can work on getting organic PR?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, with us, we don't normally take a client on unless we have a pretty good understanding that there's something going on within the current climate. A little bit behind the curtain stuff with us and how we are able to produce pay on results. Our CEO has actually worked for a good majority of the publications that you saw on that list. So within doing that, he has the ability to be privy to a little bit of the editorial meetings and what they're looking for before they even start looking. Within doing that, normally our research team reaches out to most of our clients. But if we do have a client that we've been working with for a while and we know that there's a story that they're hoping to place, whether it be, in crypto or, something in the medical field, any sort of thing that we know that there's a little bit of interest building right now, we'll go ahead and find that client who's going to fit that piece. And that way we know that we can make sure that the content is 100% organic. If we were ever paying to place the articles, it would appear as a paid advertorial. So for us, it's just kind of finding the relevance with what's happening right now and being able to put you guys in the position to fit that story and fit what's going on.
Okay, great. Thanks. I did have a follow-up question
Yeah, of
about
course.
franchising, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to overstep.
No,
Um,
no.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so obviously with this being a franchising based type of podcast,
Mhm.
as far as the franchisees working with the franchisor, I know that obviously there's a advertising portion to that they already have worked in.
Mhm.
But aside from that, do you have any other maybe out of the box or more creative sort of PR strategies that maybe the standard franchisee sort of PR that they use, or is there anything new that you've seen as far as getting PR and creative things for franchisors or
Yeah.
franchisees?
Yeah, absolutely. What I'll do when we're done here is I'll send a list of examples that we've done for people within that space. As I mentioned, for us, however we write our articles is very client dependent, how they want us to approach it. Some of our clients love to approach things very controversial. And honestly, it's one of the best ways that I've seen articles come out and get a lot of good traction and a lot of response. Not every client wants to approach an article in that way, because obviously you have the chance of having some people disagree with your opinion when you're coming in that way. But I have seen it be successful. So that is something that is a bit unique. If you come in with a big opinion and we make that the headline of the article, it has worked definitely in the past. Something specific I can think of, which obviously is not in the franchisee space, but we work with a nonprofit company called Penny Appeal. And they are an Islamic charity out of London. And one of their articles that they wanted to write was organizations should not be run by rich white men like me. And that was the headline for the article. And it got so much traction, but it was obviously a very kind of controversial stance on something. So we see different approaches working for different clients, but like I said, it's just really up to you guys. And the writers are fantastic. I'm not a writer, but our writers will always try to find something very relevant and work that into the plan with you guys.
And well, and Cody, I just have a follow-up to
Mhm.
Neosha's question there, just about how you work in the franchisor-franchisee dynamic. And I think I was kind of picking up from her question or comment was just kind of how does it work as a franchisor? Certainly the franchisor is going to have kind of their own narrative and focus. And then each individual franchisee, while similar to other franchisees and other and the franchise system at large, but the franchisee generally really is only concerned with their local market.
Mhm.
So how do you maybe establish a strategy or a plan when you're dealing with a hyper local
Mhm.
approach coupled with kind of a broader national narrative as well?
Mhm. No, that's a good question. So we have some of our clients who are kind of in that space as well. The best thing that we've seen when we're trying to tackle something like that is once we get you national coverage, as I mentioned, it's so easy to syndicate and republish on whatever sort of niche publication that you're working with. So we can either tackle this one of two ways. We can do personal PR and then relate it back to the company that you work with and the companies you are assisting. And that way, when we have that article out, we'll publish it national. So you're getting as much press as possible. And then you can also send that article and syndicate on a local level. So it's more effective for your clients. They're being seen, the company is being seen. As I mentioned, once we have something out there and something like CNN or Forbes or BBC, it's very, very easy for you to send that article wherever you like. It's going to get republished, it will get syndicated, and it's normally at no cost to you. So if you have a local company that you want to send it to the newspaper or to the press or something that's kind of a bit more niche, that's no problem at all. I think focus more on the bigger picture because we can work our way back once we have the big media tackled.
Okay, so you can repurpose a lot of that content you're
Mhm.
saying. And when you say republish, so that local, let's say local newspaper or publication, they would take it and just republish it as part of their whatever weekly run or whatever they might do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if you guys have looked through a newspaper and seen, a lot of the times they will take an article that was in like Forbes or in NASTech, and they'll just put it within the cycle that it fits in. So something within tech, and it will just be a syndication and a republishing. A lot of the time it just happens naturally. You don't even need to send it out. If they see that somewhere local has been published in a big scale, they're happy to do that because I mean, it's interesting for the city and the town.
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Other questions from our attendees here? All right. Well, Cody, what's the best way for someone just to get in touch if they're interested in learning more or check out your website?
Yeah, absolutely. I will put my email address here in the chat, and then I will also link my calendar to anyone who wants to send me an email. I'm happy to share my calendar so we can book another call, or I can also share the PDF and examples if you guys wanted to message me. I'm happy to do that as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for being a guest today. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for attending. I believe we've got one session next week before Thanksgiving, which is our November franchise sales and marketing trends session that we do. So if you want to kind of see what's new and happening from a macro and micro perspective and franchise sales and lead generation, we'll have a session on that next week. Cody, thank you so much for being a
Thank
guest
you,
here.
guys. It was so great. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.